Okay, I know what you're thinking. Yo, B, this ain't no gaming channel, bruh. What are you doing? And I just need you to hold on, slow down. Just because it says gaming doesn't mean it's only for gamers. Just like Secret is women's deodorant, it ain't just for women. Don't judge me. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy JustBwise, and today we're gonna review the Corsair K55 keyboard and the M65 mouse. With the Corsair K55 keyboard, here are some of the features that it has. It's a membrane keyboard with 6 macro keys, RGB backlighting, has media key functions, as well as anti-ghosting with 8 key selective rollover, and it's spill and dust protected with a rating of IP42. Now, I will go back over some of these points because I had to look up what half this stuff was when I was getting the keyboard. So if you're newer to gaming keyboards or premium keyboards like I am, this information may be helpful for you. So let's start with membrane keyboard. Now, a membrane keyboard, there's another type, which is the mechanical keyboard. Membrane keyboards are a little bit lighter, quieter, and typically a little bit less expensive than the mechanical keyboards. Membrane keyboards, every key is not always registered, and that's where the anti-ghosting with the select 8 key rollover is, where up to 8 keys are going to be registered at one time. So, I mean, I'm not hitting more than 8 keys at a time. I don't know how fast you type, but that's not something I'm doing. And when I'm gaming, I'm not that great of a gamer, so that's not gonna happen either. So 8 keys, that's more than enough for me. Since I already covered the membrane keyboard and the anti-ghosting, last thing I just want to mention is macro keys. Macro keys should be relatively not that confusing to most people. Macro is just a way to program a set of functions, and you can just program that to one of the 6 keys that are already here on the keyboard. So one of the things I did like about this keyboard once I first got it was that it was quieter. Like I said, with the membrane keyboards, they're typically a little bit quieter. So here's a sound test to see if you like how it sounds. Also, it says with membrane keyboards, they're a little like a mushy feeling, but I mean, I think it feels pretty nice. Feels really good when I'm typing. Feels a lot better than the cheapo keyboard I had before, which I don't know where it is right now, but it doesn't feel like that. This feels much better. Now, one of the things about this keyboard that I didn't expect to enjoy at all was the RGB lighting. Every time I see RGB lighting, I'm just like, I don't really care about lights. I'm just gonna turn them off. You know, I just need my blank slate. Don't need all that fancy colors flying through my keyboard while I'm using it. This is ridiculous. And then when I plugged it in, my wife was looking at it like, oh my gosh, there's such a calming effect to it. And I was like, you know what, you're right. It does have this kind of soothing ambiance that's entering into the room. So I will admit, I kind of like the RGB lighting now. I don't get into too deep with it. I don't have like a specific color system I want set up on it. I just like the slow rainbow transition. To me, looks dope, and it bleeds right off into the Corsair mouse, which I thought was pretty exciting because it's like, did they plan that on purpose? Because that's pretty sick. That's dope. Speaking of the mouse, one thing I will say, if you aren't looking for a mouse for gaming, but you're similar to me, you edit photos, I usually will use a tablet, but sometimes if I'm lazy, I'll just use my mouse. And it does help to have a mouse where you can dial in the DPI, because that can adjust your precision with how much the mouse moves or not moves, depending on how much you use it. Now, I know you can do that in your Windows or whatever already. However, being able to have something that can be even more precise will help you in your edit, just to make things so much more smoother. I promise you, it will make things much smoother. I'm not saying you have to get this mouse, but getting a mouse that does that makes a huge difference. First time I edited with this mouse, it was a big deal. So If you're not a gamer, there's that. If you are a gamer, it's also pretty darn smooth. I mean, I can only compare it to a regular crap mouse. So if you're looking for your first mouse to get into gaming, I think it's a good buy at 50 bucks. I'm not the best at games, but my aim has been on point. I mean, kind of on point. I still lose a lot. Oh, I'm so bad. As for the mouse, here's some of the things I actually really like about it. My fingers are kind of long, so my hands are a little bit bigger, and it's kind of, the mouse itself is kind of spread out a little bit more, so it's for bigger hands. I appreciate that. Also, on the left hand side of the mouse where your thumb rests, it has like a thumb rest, but it has a thumb rest for you, so it's like my hand is on the mouse the whole time. I'm not on the mouse pad at all. My whole hand sits on the mouse, which makes it much easier for me to move the mouse around, and it feels good in my hand. I don't know how else to explain that. Also, there's the two additional mouse buttons are right there, and they're in a good position. And then right under those two mouse buttons, there's like a red sniper button is what they call it. Now, what they use that for is if you push the sniper button, it slows your DPI down for precision aim in FPS games. I don't use it for that because I'm just not, that's not why I use it. But you can program that button to do whatever you want as well. So do that. Now you'll notice at the top right below the scroll wheel, you have two other buttons there. Those are to actually change your DPI settings as well. So you can program your DPI settings to not that sensitive to very sensitive, up to I think like 6 different layers or profiles, whatever you want to call it. And as you change it, it will change and you can have a color associated with which one it is. So all in all, I think it is a really good buy for each. If you're not a super hardcore gamer, if you're just getting into games, this is a good idea for you. It's low threshold, don't have to spend a lot of money. Or if you just want to get better equipment because you use your computer a lot, it makes a big difference spending a little bit of money to improve your equipment just a little bit. So I will say, when I'm working at my desk now, I do feel more comfortable, even when I'm just processing emails, you know, because it's just the keyboard feels a lot better, and definitely the mouse feels great. So yeah, that's really all I got for you. I know this video was a little bit different than the norm because talking about computer equipment is not normally what we talk about here. So if you did like the video, please like the video. Comment down below if it was cool, or if you thought, yo, I don't want to hear you talk about this no more. Also, as always, I gave you some tools to create and be great. Peace.